There we go. Now that shit should be back. Wonderful. And now I get to experience the song that a friend of mine linked a little before. Huzzah. But hey, Savi, how are you doing today? Hi, Robbie. How are you doing? I had a little bit of an episode yesterday, but besides that, I'm good. I'm good, I'd say. I mean, it happens. It happens. And it's 9 p.m. for me, and I'm planning to stream till midnight, and I got school tomorrow, so like, fuck it. Oh god. You got exams and I got shit. Fucking. Oh shit, I have something I need to do by the end of today. Well, fuck me. Oh boy. Well, we're not gonna worry about that. Ooh. That was not a bad song at all. That was not a bad song at all. I will have to say I liked it. Yeah, it's only for Finnish class. I really couldn't give more of a fuck, to be honest. Also, should I put the background music down a little more, or should I keep it as is? Alright, I will turn it down a little more. That should be good. Maybe wanna. Yeah. Anyway, let's get to crack-a-lackin', shall we? Gadunk. Y'all can see the game, correct? Yoo-hoo, let's go. Alright. Start. thank you for downloading. Before we start, this game features text descriptions and non-explicit visual descriptions of blood slash gore, torture, war slash cannibalism, sex, and hand holding. By continuing, you agree to do so at your own risk. The hand holding got me. After years of waking up at the same time every day, I've grown far too accustomed to it. I'm awake even before my alarm beetle goes off. Alarm beetle, okay. The air outside must still be cold from the rain last night. The room feels a little chilly and there's a strong compulsion to stay curled up in my blanket. My bed is enticingly warm after all. So I decide to remain still until it's absolutely necessary for me to rise. Keeping my eyes closed, I consider what to wear today. This is hitting realism levels that I never thought I would be getting out of a game in the first few minutes. The weather today is supposed to be cloudy. Wearing an extra cloak might not be a bad idea. Just one of the lighter ones. Ow! The alarm beetle starts chirping, and I lay a hand on it before its first trill is even over, gently silencing it. I crack my eyes open to squint at the light gently filtering into my room. One more minute. I keep my eyes closed for just one more minute. I exhale slowly and count to 60. The comfortable haze of sleep threatens to creep back over me, but I ward it off with some effort. 58, 59, 60, and we're up. I better get up. Alright, let's get going. I crawl out of bed and begin my usual morning routine. It's become such a deeply ingrained habit that I hardly need to think about what I'm doing. I splash my face with water first and wipe off any pus that's accumulated overnight. Toweling off my face. Toweling my face off, not toweling off my face. Toweling my face off, I return to open the windows. And airing up the place. The atmosphere outside is crisp from last night's rain. The ground still a little moist. And there's a pleasant miasma that stings at the nose. Poking my head out the window, I take a few deep breaths to chase off the last tendrils of sleep before withdrawing back inside and making my bed. I find my way to my table, retrieve my usual breakfast, a block of salt and a cup of water. Some people go without eating in the morning or only drink water, but I've found it hard to last the morning without some salt. The crystals crunch between my teeth as I look for a cloak of appropriate thickness. Oh, fuck yeah! Metalocalypse. Check. This is exactly why I made the fucking stream background music playlist, because it's nothing but vibes, for me at least. The cloak I'm looking for turns out to be abandoned in a corner, and I swallow my mouthful of salt as I pull it on. Give me a second. The salt burns down the full length of my throat, and I wash it down with water. That done, I smooth my hands down the front of my cloak to brush off any stray salt crystals, and to make sure there aren't any unsightly wrinkles. I want to look presentable. Even if I am just a delivery agent, I still want to look good for my clients. Good man. My entire routine doesn't take more than 15 minutes, as I've streamlined it well over the years. I glance outside as I close my window. The streets outside are still mostly quiet, with only a few people bustling about. The owner of the corner store is quietly sweeping the streets. The rhythmic scratch of a brush bristles against the damp dirt echoing down the block. A few crows linger on a nearby roof, muttering to themselves. They seem a bit more excited than usual. My room falls quiet when I close the window. As I leave, I lock the door and jostle it 1, 2, 3 times to make sure it's secure. Then I head down the street. Okay, I just wanna... Yeah. Look at the level design. Mwah. No, this is... I don't think it's that one, but it's definitely a horror dating sim from what I remember. This is not the one with the Haki Cthulhu one, and then what was the one the Dami in yellow and yeah, the fucking cat, one-eyed cat. No, not that one. Though I would love to play that myself. Again. The crows bellow at me when I walk past them, and I glance up to give them a smile. They remember people's faces, so it's best to stay on their good side if possible. Here's a lesson you all should remember. Us Corvettes, we have a really, really good memory. Except me, I fucking suck. How scary? I don't think this is gonna be scary at all, but I might get a boner. But that's not the topic that I should be talking about. Moving on. Yeah. Past them, the sky is a deeper green than it usually is. I squint and shield my eyes as I look up at the suns. That's right, I'd forgotten. The eclipse is in 2 days. The primary sun looms largest overhead, but its smaller brothers don't lag far behind, the three forming a lopsided triangle. The moon lingers lower down, closer to the horizon, like a pale paper cutout laid against the sky. It's normal for them to be scattered like this, but in 2 days, for just a few moments, they'll all align. The 3 suns overlapping at one point in the sky, blocked from our view by one of our 2 moons. An absolute solar eclipse. Hi, Rayma. How are you doing? Let me actually just do this real quick. Go do that, and then go do that. There we go. Anytime. I got it. Excited about the eclipse coming up? I give a slight jump when a voice chirps from right behind me. I whirl around so quickly I almost end up entangled in my cloak. Whoa, didn't mean to scare you there. Sorry about that. No, no, it's alright. I was just thinking about things. I mean, I would be flirting with chat if my chat was people that flirted with me. Let's be honest. One of my neighbors, Agari, from just down the block. Exactly, that is basically just a normal Raven stream. She looks more jittery than usual, a string of saliva dribbling down from her mandibles, as she also casts her gaze up towards the sky. Oh, it's so exciting, isn't it? Just 2 more days and there will be eclipse. Are you thinking of doing anything special on that day, sweetie? I smile and shake my head. Nothing in particular, I'm just looking forward to seeing it. Oh, that's also fine. But you should really think hard, just in case there is something special you want to do on that day. Oh, well, I mean, you should cuff me then. Well, an absolute solar eclipse only occurs once every century or so. A rare event. I squint up at the sky. uh, Perhaps because of that, people view it as an auspicious phenomenon. Hey, what a fucking do. That be my boy. Godless. How you doing, buddy? How's the cleaning going? By the way, the song you sent, fucking loved it. Perhaps because of that, people view it. Hell yeah. You'll get all of the great background music as well as my dumb voice reading a horror visual novel. Or horror dating sim, I don't fucking know. Both, I guess. Perhaps because of that, people view it as an auspicious phenomenon. It is said that if you make an important life decision, or attempt something new on the day of an absolute solar eclipse, the results are more likely to be favorable. I've never believed in such superstitions, but I know most of the city is looking forward to the eclipse. A lot of people propose to loved ones, explore new areas, or change their jobs on eclipse day. As a result, I've heard it's considered something of a headache within the community for organizers, or for the community organizers who need to deal with the chaos. Still, the excitement building in the air is almost palpable. Ray, why are you up at 3 a.m.? You're not me. You're not meant to be up at this hour. Oh god, yes. Oh, Kojiro. Regardless of my own beliefs, I don't see any reason to squelch anyone else's excitement. I look back to my neighbor. For a moment, you had me holding my breath there. But I hope he has a speedy recovery. And yes, Ray can be contained. That has been established pretty fucking quickly. Do you have any plans for Eclipse Day, Agati? Oh, I do. She gives an what? I gave it the fucking voice of like an elderly fucking man, like fucking, but the fucking doctor from Futurama. Oh, I do. She gives an excited chirp, clasping her hands together. I'm going to visit my dear friend across town. We had a rather bad fight years ago and haven't spoken since, but we agreed to meet on Eclipse Day to talk things out. I'm sure we'll be able to rekindle our friendship. Her genuine excitement is heartwarming. I can't help smiling as I give a nod. Now let's enjoy this breakdown for a moment. I think we might be going Russian. Or, as Modern Warfare puts it, no Russian. Bad joke. That sounds wonderful. I hope it goes well. Thank you, dear. Oh, but I shouldn't keep you for too long. You're on your way to work, aren't you? I don't again. It's alright, I always head out early. And it was nice hearing about your plans. Well, good luck on your work. And do think about something to do for Eclipse Day. It would be a shame to let the opportunity pass by you. I give her a small wave as I turn to leave, and she cheerily returns the gesture. But once I turn the corner, I speed up into a light gallop. Despite what I told her, I hurry a little. I like getting to places a little earlier than necessary. Okay, sounds like me. Good morning, boss. The air in the soul processing plant stings at the nose, burning at the lungs, a little with each breath. And I try not to inhale too deeply. Full-time workers here usually wear masks, unless they happen to have well-developed nasal filters. Since I'm usually in and out quickly, I don't bother with masks. Where's your mask? My boss is pretty strict though. It's alright, boss, I'll be out of here pretty quick. No, wear your masks. You'll need to wait a few moments. He thrusts a mask into my hands before I can stop him, then turns away to a nearby table piled high with packages. I give a slightly exasperated sigh. How many times have we had this exact exchange before? Although it's a good indicator of how much the boss cares for its workers, I guess. The boss looks cool. Look, blocks the little guy. There was a little guy there that I wanted to see. I know! It is cute. I love this. I'm so happy that I fucking chose this. Might as well just put on the mask. Oh god, is it? Yes! Love. Oh god, I do love music. It's a little uncomfortable, especially where the filter brushes against the raw sections of my face, but it does immediately make breathing easier. As I adjust the mask's strings, I take a cursory glance around the factory. It's a familiar sight, but its internal workings are always fascinating to watch. Look at him! Look at him! Or them, look at them. They, oh. I love them. I love them already. Oh fuck, I'm almost out of my drink. Shit. So, for those that do not know, I recently got myself a proper pint, proper European pint, and I did a 3-to-1 cocktail of Mad Krog, which is an energy drink, and vodka in it, and I'm almost out, so cheers. the feeling. A chute at the far end of the room belches out, spurts salts. Yeah, both. Like I put like all of the energy drink and like the rest of the vodka into the pint. And I'm almost done with it, and I started it like 30 minutes ago, ish. The chute at the far end of the room belches out spurts of salt crystals, spilling them into a huge vat. The steady hum of grinding and crunching sometimes seeps through the chute, like the sounds of many small bones being chewed up. On the other side of that chute is the machine that processes the raw salt, breaking up any larger rocks into these smaller crystals. Yeah, like I told Savi earlier, I wanted to drink on Sunday because, you know, it's the final day before school, so. Click clock. And remember, boys, hashtag full skits. We do it with absolutely no fucks given around here. The ground up salt needs to be processed further though. The grinding process doesn't get any of the insects, rocks, or hair clumps that might be present into the new raw salt rocks. Workers carry huge buckets of unprocessed salt to the smaller vats that dot the cavernous room. These vats are constantly stirred with long poles, pressing the salt crystals through the filters that will catch any unwanted material. The filters will quickly clog up with hair and insect wings and need to be swapped out frequently. One vat has a worker carefully adding an enormous bucket of flavoring to it. The scent of honey comes wafting through the air, and I inhale deeply. The sweet slick of honey contrasts beautifully to the familiar, crisp sting of salt. Honey salt must be delicious. Maybe I'll get to splurge on it someday. But in order to do that, I need to work. What's my quota look like today? My voice comes out a little muffled past the mask. A little more than usual. That was not the accent I was going, or fucking voice I was going for, but fuck it. I step to the table to help the boss load packages into a cloth bundle. Each package is a block of salt wrapped tight in a piece of fabric. The fabric protects the salt from any moisture while it's in transit, and also catches any pieces that might crumble off. Most of the bundles are wrapped in a cheap tan fabric. Those packages are normal salt, but there are a few packages wrapped in yellow or red cloth, and even fewer wrapped in white cloth. The white ones are mercury, right? The boss grunts in the affirmative. Mercury salt is such a rare treat that I don't deliver it often. That looks more like honey and punishment salt. Looks like more honey and punishment salt. It's punishments. Oh, kinky. Than usual too. And an R.I.P. to Chuck Schuldiner, one of the best metal frontmen of all time. Ah, such a good song. People getting excited up. That's not. Fuck. You know what? We'll just fucking freeball it. Let's go. People getting excited about the. What the fuck am I doing? People getting excited about the eclipse, treating themselves. Right, of course. The boss counts the packages one last time before tying the bundle shut and handing it over to me. There's the rustle of fabric and the crackle of loose salt crystals bumping into each other with each movement. The package weighing heavily in my hands. I tie the fabric tight over one shoulder so the bundle won't come loose or jostle around too much while I'm running. Hey, let's go. And here is the route. He hands me a scrap of paper with just a few notes jotted to it. I've long since memorized my route, and the paper only notes any exceptions. Who doesn't need salt today? Who's getting special salt instead of the usual? Who's getting more packages than normal? I usually don't even need this cheat sheet, but there are a lot of exceptions today. It really does seem like everyone's changing things up in preparation of the eclipse. All the more reason to avoid making mistakes. I'd hate to deliver people the wrong salt and put a damper on the mood. Got it. Pocketing the note, I give the bundle one last tug with my hand to make sure it's in place before turning towards the door. Right before I push the door open, I remember to take my mask and hand it back to the boss. He gives a snort as he takes it back, waving a hand to shoo me out and on my way. As the heavy door lumbers shut, I hear him call out gruffly, "Take care!" Just a tiny sliver of the plant's interior is visible past the closing door, and I give him a wave of the hand before turning back towards the street. Alright, time to begin my route. I've been delivering salt for several years now, though I was uncertain when an acquaintance first suggested the job to me. I've really warmed up to it since then. The workload is consistent and predictable, and my boss is nice, if a little gruff. And the neighborhoods I deliver to are full of friendly people. Hey, starting on your route for today? Yep, have a good morning. You too. These voices. Wait, what the fuck? I thought I was human, okay. This is... Okay, so today is Monster Fucker Sunday, let's go. My hind claws dig a little into the ground, kicking up small clumps of dirt with each step. I quickly fall into a comfortable galloping gait. Shut up. I quickly fall into a galloping gait as I take a hard left outside the salt processing plant and start heading down the street. Huge slabs of buildings loom overhead on both sides. This block doesn't have many residents, as it's mostly factories. I pass by those quickly, no deliveries to make just yet. But I do have one delivery to make at the corner up ahead. The building at the very end of the block is smaller, its outer walls off-white instead of a murky beige. It's not tall either, but it does have an awesome structure sprouting from its top. A giant tower clawing up towards the sky, made of bone and coated with smooth flesh. An enormous pair of antennae protrude from the tip of the tower, their shells gleaming faintly in the sunlight. They whip back and forth at random intervals, as if raking through the air. Numerous eyeballs at the antenna's base also blink frequently, their irises swiveling about to survey their surroundings. One of them rolls around to look me over when I approach, and I give it a small wave. The front entrance to the building has a small sign carved into it. The sign reads, Community Overlook Center. I open the door and enter. Look at this shit. This looks like something out of like a SCP comic. I love it. The office's interior is much cozier and the air is clean and warm. There are few desks littered with papers, the workers busily reading over their contents and filling out other forms. This place has always looked busy when I come by, never hectic though. Despite the steady bustle of productivity, things always seem in control. Not that I know these workers very well. I do wave to a vague, vaguely familiar face, but head straight to the far corner, where the tower and control pods sit. I'm just fucking straight up actually freeballing this shit. Because I can't do shit the right way. The pod's nerves crawl up, or, well, I can't do shit, but I can hardly read. The pod's nerves crawl up the walls like a giant spider web, thick cables of flesh burrowing into the smooth rock surface. The pod itself is a giant oblong shape, coated in flesh and pulsing gently, the eyeballs embedded in its surface flickering about more languidly. Hey, I will. The left-hand path, as we say. A few of them fixing on me as I approach, though they close wetly after a few moments of staring. They probably don't want to get squished when the pod opens. There's a loud squelch of fluid slick flesh when the pod opens, and when the pod splits open at the center, its two halves neatly sliding apart like a beetle's carapace. A wall of hot, damp air bursts outward as the pod opens. Oh, that sound! The interior of the pod is oozing with fluid, drips of it, spilling out to dot the floor. Let's enjoy the solo for a moment. Master of the Sky by Mooncoven. Such a good song. A thick coating of it obscures the shape of the person sitting inside until he sits up and stretches his arms. The fluid comes slowing off in sheets, spilling back into the pod's interior as he rises to his feet. There are two wet plops of suction as he detaches the pod's nerve cables attached to his temples. Hi, Yistel. Yistel towers over me when he strains to his full height, the bones of his feet clicking gracefully on the floor when he steps out of the pod. Ooh! Look at the man. Look at the man. That is some sexy character design. I do have to say. I do have to say. Good morning, Val. Oh shit. I know, absolutely fucking hot. It's weird to think that this album came out like during the time, or during the year I was born. I'm not gonna stay focused, no, I'm here to enjoy myself. And so, I'm gonna enjoy the music as well, because fuck you. This is my stream. He always talks gently, his voice low. It's a little hard making out what he's saying if the office is ever really busy, but it does make him sound very reassuring, especially when he smiles a little. A soft boy. Diligent as ever, I see. Yistel leads the way to a table nearby. It's far enough from the pod that there isn't any danger of fluid splashback, which is good. The salt doesn't hold up well to anything wet, and I have a lot of salt to drop off here. My bundle is heavy from the day's worth of salt, and I'm looking forward to lightening it significantly. I start undoing the fabric, not to put the bundle down on the table.
How are things looking today?
He gives a small sigh at that. Just a warm puff of air that escapes past chinless lips.
I haven't spotted any troublemakers, but there's certainly a buzz in the air. There does seem to be a little crowd congregating just north of here, so I might have to send someone to check it out later. Hopefully it's just a friendly gathering so I can leave it be. I hate to have to get anyone in trouble just before the eclipse.
I don't fully understand Yeastel's job, so all I can do is offer sympathy. It does sound like the situation could go either way.
Hopefully it won't cause too much trouble for you, no matter the outcome.
Oh fuck, that was, no. That was my line, I didn't even notice it.
Thanks, Phil. It should be alright. I'll keep a few eyes on them for a while.
Yeastel's job seems busy at the best of times, and I can imagine it only grows more difficult during the times of excitement, like around the eclipse. There aren't very many people who can handle the pressure of being the town's overlook, especially since the overlook pod is apparently a strain to operate. But Yeastel's been loved by everyone since he took the job, highly attentive and quick to respond. He's been the key in maintaining the town's peace, because he's able to spot troublemakers so quickly and send officials to stop them before too much damage is done. It's done a lot to discourage crime. That, on top of being an all-round nice guy. The fabric finally comes undone, and I settle it on the table before digging through my pocket for the note. Alright, it says here that you need 24 packets of salt today, correct?
Correct.
24 then. Yeastel doesn't eat 24 packets of salt himself, of course. As the community overlook, he's also in charge of keeping an eye out for people who are ill or injured or have fallen on hard times. Like anyone who might have difficulty procuring their own salt. These 24 packets will be distributed to such people. This is a good socialist town that takes care of its people, like actually takes care of its people. Comes straight from the fucking plant to them motherfuckers and they distribute it. This is moi. We stand this town. That's a little more than usual, right? Is the eclipse causing any trouble? I lay the salt packets in stacks of 4.
In a sense.
He still gives a slightly sheepish laugh.
It's not trouble, but I wanted to ensure that people aren't struggling for salt during a time as joyous as the eclipse. I'll be giving out a little extra to the people who are having a hard time.
Good boy, you still. It was the last thing I did alive. Barricaded boy. My heart warms with admiration.
That's really nice of you. I'm sure they'll really appreciate it.
6 stacks of 4, 24 packets of salt lay neatly on the table, and I make sure Yeastel's given it an approving nod before tying my bundle back over my shoulder.
Speaking of the eclipse, do you have...
If I can, I'm dating this man. If I can, I'm dating this man.
Speaking of the eclipse, do you have any plans?
Everyone's so excited about the eclipse. I shake my head. Not really. I might go out to watch it, I guess. He still laughs gently. He has a raspy laugh in contrast to his littling voice. Shut the fuck up, Robbie. I mean, what? Look at him. Come on. Look at you. Would you night bait this motherfucker? Come on. Oh, I just realized that game cap is a little fucked up. Hmm. That should be better. Exactly. Exactly, Robbie.
You sound awfully unimpressed by the eclipse.
I guess I'm just pretty satisfied where I am right now. I know the eclipse is supposed to be good luck if you're making any big decisions, but I don't have any decisions to make. I shift the bundle on my shoulder and it comes out like a shrug. Maybe if I try taking a different route on my delivery that day, I'll find a shortcut.
That would be nice. It would make your life a little easier, I suppose.
Do you have any plans? There's a pause. Yistel looks thoughtful, a finger tapping at his chin before his lips curve in a smile.
I might. I'm still deciding. Look at that smug fucker. But you know, Vil,
Yistel reaches out to touch my shoulder. Despite the hard bones of his fingers, the gesture is soft and comforting, squeezing just briefly before giving a tender pat and then pulling away.
the eclipse really is a special time. Not just because the eclipse itself, but because everyone is so excited and happy. I don't think it would be a bad idea to take advantage of that unique energy in the air.
Yes, look, there, he only has bones here. You can see a tendon there, but it's mainly just bones and whatever androgynous fucking monster flesh, okay? I give a small smile. Alright, I'll give it some thought.
Come in. Yes.
To the blacklist. Flesh like this shit. Sophie, son of a bitch. You're not wrong though. You are not wrong. You are not wrong. Yistel sees me off. Is it alright for you to leave your pod for so long?
It's alright for a few minutes. Taking short breaks helps me keep my mind clear.
Don't work yourself too hard. Even if everyone's depending on you, you shouldn't run yourself ragged. Chitin is a very hard material that bugs have, and it's basically implying a boner.
Thanks. You too.
I grin. Don't worry, you helped me a lot by taking so much salt off my hands. My root's always easier after I visited you. Yistel rasps out a laugh.
Well, I'm glad I can be of help to you. Though I should be the one thanking you for your work all the time.
Alright, see you later, Vistel. Yistel.
Take care, though.
Yistel waves as I start off a light jog. Robbie, why the fuck are you criticizing Savi? I'm literally the one that said I'd fuck him. I wave back. The overlooked tower is docile without him in the cockpit. The towering antennae and mound of flesh just barely quivering. It's strange to see it so calm, which says a lot about how much I've grown used to Ysol's constant presence and keeping an eye out on the city. He's a good guy. I hope he gets a day off sometime. He could really use it. It only takes me a few paces to hit my stride, my posture lowering, I transition into my usual gallop. With that, the big delivery is out of the way. The rest of the route is smaller deliveries, no problem. Here you go.
Thanks. Quick as ever, aren't you?
I'm just trying to be on time. Have a nice day.
You too, Bill.
Okay, so he sounds like a smoker, gotta keep that in mind. Most deliveries go quickly, just 1 or 2 salt packets to drop off along.
Shh.
Don't worry, the forming of sentences is something I am master at. Oh! Quick as ever. Most deliveries go quickly, just 1 or 2 salt packets to drop off along with a brief greeting. For people who aren't home, I have to drop the salt into their usual delivery box out in front of their door. It's nicer doing personal deliveries since I feel like saying a brief hello to my clients, but it can't be helped. Everyone has things to do.
Thanks, Phil.
Honey salt, huh? Planning on doing something special? I just noticed their look. I like that. Planning on doing something special for the eclipse?
Yup. I'm thinking of throwing a bit of a party.
Oh god, it's Nobu. It's Nobu's cousin. Glad I could get your salt safely then.
I appreciate it. You be careful on your route now, you hear?
Thank you, Robbie. Thank you. And thank you for stopping by. It is much appreciated. Will do. Everyone seems happy. It's nice. It's a nice day. My next delivery is a few blocks away, but I can cut through the park. The ground's a little wetter here, the dirt solid beneath my feet instead of kicking up into little puffs. My claws dig small grooves with each step, no doubt leaving a little line of tick marks to signal where I've been. They'll probably be trampled flat during the day, only to repeat the next day. The paths in the park are flanked by trees, their gnarled branches reaching haphazardly up and outwards, as if they're looking forward to the eclipse. Small insects lay nestled in the bark. Their wings shimmer like water droplets each time they flit around. A few of them chitter at each other, set to the backdrop of crows shouting, "Ah!" Somewhere further away, there's a quiet drone of some factory belching long streamers of smoke. Hey. It's nice here. The atmosphere is great. I really like getting to cut through the park. I'm so distracted that I don't hear the sounds of footsteps approaching rapidly.
Vil!
Oh, Jesus Christ, that fucking hurt my ears. That was actually fucking loud. Jesus fuck. A boisterous pillar of fur and energy comes bursting out of the foliage directly to my right. I almost jumped 2 feet in the air.
Hey, Vil.
Bratan stinks of sweat and dirt. his fur matted dark in spots, plastered out in strange directions from dried fluids. There's a blob of something fleshy stuck to his jaw. Hey, bratan, been out all night? This, like, this just looks like a horror furry. Just basically a horror furry. Am I right or am I right? Like, come on. It basically looks like a horror furry.
Yeah,
Just as I suspected.
we were out exploring westward since we smelled a lot of salt. Haven't found anything yet, though.
I'm sure you'll find it soon. You guys are really good at your jobs. Bratan beams at me, tail wagging side to side and knocking around some innocent saplings branches. Bratan works as a salt scout. Salt scouts search the flesh fields outside the city in search of raw salt pools. These pools are where we harvest raw salt for processing at the plant, then distributing out to the people. An important job. In other words, salt scouts depend on their sense of smell or sensitivity to changes in the air to seek out the signature sting of salt. So apparently, many of them don't mind working out during the night when visibility is poor. It's not unusual to see a salt scout heading home in the morning, dirty from a long night of exploring.
Anyway,
Even after a night of what must have been exhausting work, Bratan talks at a boisterous growl.
I thought I smelled you with salt. So I figured I'd catch you now. If I pick up my salt from you here, it'll make your route a little easier, right?
Smile tugs in my face. Bratan looks terribly proud of this innovative thought. Thanks, it helps a lot. Not really, my route takes me past Bratan's house anyway, but I won't own that. Aww. Bratan gives a wide smile, showing off every single one of his sharp teeth.
No problem.
It's awfully endearing. Well, let me check what your delivery for today is. Just the usual. Oh, fuck.
Just the usual for me.
He pipes up before I can double check my note. So I nod as I shift the bundle from my shoulder to pull out his usual delivery. 2 packs of regular salt. Bratan tends to eat a bit more than the average. Understandable with how much time he spends moving around.
By the way,
He sounds excited. I bet he's gonna talk about the eclipse.
do you have any plans for the eclipse?
The swinging of his tail has grown ferocious, batting a branch aside with enough gusto to snap it in half. I fucking love him. Not really. Everyone seems so excited for the eclipse, which I suppose is the normal reaction. It's probably weirder that I'm more laid back about it. That's just my nature. Besides, it makes me happy enough just seeing other people so excited. Their feelings are infectious.
Aw, really? Come on, you should live a little. Ah!
He looks sad. He looks sad. Sad little man. I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to take a moment just to appreciate this fucking song because it has been 3 years since Alexi passed, as of this December, and as of a day or two ago, I think, this album turned 20. And this album is very, very important to me, so might as well enjoy it a little. Also, that gives me time to fucking fix the window cap again, because again, I can't do anything right. No. There. No. God damn it. There we go.
backstabbing motherfucker, just of course what you are.
I'm moving on.
I...
I'm getting actual fucking recoil from the fucking smacks because I have the volume so fucking high. Jesus Christ. Oh, like it's so fucking bassy. It literally feels like somebody's punching the fucking insides of my eardrums. Bratan's enormous paw claps on my back, making me stumble forward a step. 1 or 2 salt packets fell from my bundle, but he catches them before they can hit the ground.
Whoops, sorry about that.
It's alright. I put those packets away and managed to extract 2 packets of regular salt in the process. Here you go, the usual for you.
Thanks, Phil.
For a moment, Bratan sounds like he's about to add something, but stops himself. I don't prod, just readjust my bundle. Sure enough, he shifts his weight from one foot to the other for a few moments in a nervous fidget before speaking up again. I already know, like, all the love interests because they've all spoken to us about the fucking eclipse. But this is the most obvious one.
Hey, you know, you should really consider doing something for the eclipse.
Well, it's not that I'm against doing anything, but I guess I just don't have any plans.
So you'd be up for doing something adventurous?
Bratan blurts that out loudly enough to startle off a crow overhead. And I can't help but being curious. Maybe?
Cool.
There's a long pause before he hurries to add.
Not that I have anything planned or anything, I was just asking. But you never know what might come up is what I'm saying.
I have to fight back a grin. Bratan isn't good at being subtle, which is cute. I guess you're right. Knowing Bratan, maybe he'll teach me about some hidden location to view the eclipse from. He knows this area like the back of his hand, thanks to his job. This shortcut through the park is also something he taught me about, so I'd be actually pretty happy if he taught me about a strange location to visit during the eclipse. It might be a nice change of pace. Ooh. And then some anathema.
Anyway, I'll let you get back to your job.
Bratan's stifling a yawn as he says that. Even his endless energy must be running low after working all night. Sure. You go get some rest.
We'll do.
There's no warning before Bratan leans in to lick my face, his tongue dragging all the way up from my chin to my brow, leaving a sticky trail of drool in its wake. A very moist sign of affection.
Do good on your job and I'll see you tomorrow.
And with that, Bratan is on his way. I wave as Bratan makes his loud exit, crashing his way through some defenseless bushes, leaving a trail of trampled ground in his wake. He waves back as he turns a corner around a prickly bush up ahead, then vanishes from view. It's only then that I raise my hand to my face, considering wiping away the damp tracks lingering on my face. I end up just leaving it be. It's not a big deal after all. My face gets chapped from running against the wind all day. The sheen of spit soothes the raw skin a little. That's kind of gay. That's cute, but that's gay. So after one last check of my bundle to make sure it's secure, I turn my attention back to the path through the park. It's time to get back to work. Ooh, this man looks like a death metal cover. This reminds me of it's not the fucking Covenant, but it's that one fucking Obituary album cover, and then Leprosy by Death. It's like a mix of that. I like it. Here you go. Thanks, Bill. You're always right on time. I really appreciate. All these fucking accents are getting mixed together. Whatever. You're always right on time. I appreciate it. It's nicer to get my salt directly from you instead of my box, you know? I understand. I'm glad I could get it to you too. You're such a good kid. Take care, alright? Will do, sir. The route grows easier towards the end of the day as my bundle grows ever lighter. I have to stop to tie it around tighter around my shoulder, making sure the excess fabric doesn't billow and flap around too much as I run. The deliveries go smoothly. Everyone seems to be in a pretty good mood, and one client gives me a cup of water to keep me going. Though I don't need the water, it's still a nice energy boost, and I thank her for it before continuing on my way. One block has 5 houses in a row that need deliveries. One house is occupied and I get to hand the salt to my client directly, but the other 4 are empty, so I leave the salt in their boxes. Maybe they're off at work, or maybe they're making preparations for the eclipse. Hopefully I can say hi to them tomorrow at least. That block done, I trot to the end of the street to the corner, but the sound of screaming catches my attention. Looking up, I catch the sight of the small crowd a few blocks down. It takes me a few moments of squinting to realize what it is. A punishment salt bath. He looks cool. A metal tub placed on the ground, flanked on either side by an overlook officer. Inside the tub of salt, a person. Inside the tub, salt and a person, a criminal. Jesus fucking Christ. Each overlook officer is holding a capture pole, the wires at the end strung taut around the criminal's limbs, keeping them firmly in the salt bath. Even from this distance, I can make out a few patches of raw, wet flesh. Areas where the criminal's skin has been flayed off to expose to the salt. Jesus. No doubt the salt in the bath is starting to stain red and clump together. From the blood and fluids, my mouth waters a little from just the thought. Yeah, this is really just like horror dancing. Fuck yeah. These punishment salt baths serve a dual function. On the other hand, this is a pretty good punishment, though larger crimes earn harsher punishments. First-time offenders are usually only given a salt bath. The pain of having raw flesh exposed to salt is enough of a deterrent to keep people from repeating their mistakes in the future. On the other hand, the salt used in these punishments is a bit more of a delicacy, though not as prized as honey or mercury salt. Fucking send it over, I'll fucking queue it up for you. Punishment salt has a savory tang to it that almost everyone enjoys. Just enough blood gets mixed into the salt to give it a unique flavor and takes off the harsher edge of the original salt taste. That's good. I'll probably be seeing a bunch of punishment salt to be delivered tomorrow. Alright, let me queue that up. It has been queued. Maybe I'll claim a package or two for myself. Everyone's talking about the eclipse, so maybe I can treat myself after all. Whoever's immersed in the salt gives a gurgling stream. The sunlight glints off the bright salt tub. Let's get back to work. As interesting as this is, I think it would be best to go back to work. I turn my attention back to the streets ahead. The officers grunting something at the criminal, but I ignore it, even if the smell of blood and salt in the air is tantalizing. I take 1, 2, 3 quick steps and launch into a steady trot. Yeah, no worries. I mean, I got 2 other lurkers, so hell yeah. Everyone is appreciated here. I'm still on this job, so I shouldn't lose my focus. I've managed to drag my thoughts away from that salt bath by the time I reach the end of the block. I'm at the tail end of my route, and with almost nothing left in my bundle, each step feels light. I drop 2 salt packages into a delivery box before rounding the corner. Immediately, there's a unique sweetness in the air. Without thinking, I raise my head to inhale deeply. Even if I'm deeply familiar with the smell, it's still enticing. One can't help but breathe in deeper around this area. There's always a few people lurking about. Up ahead is the bee store. Bees! Not the bees! God, I do love me some OG of Mice and Men, even though both of the vocalists are apparently a little yikes. I like this. I like this. It's a nice vibe. Yeah. Go. Give it a like. A small bone chime above the door rattles as I enter. The cages. Hey, what the fuck? Bex? Well, I haven't seen you in a long time. How are you doing? Thank you for the raid. And hello, any raiders that might be coming in from Bex's channel. Hey, yeah, I saw. I was lurking in your stream for a little bit. As you were playing, not for a long time, just to check out what you were doing. But Animal Crossing is a nice game to stream, so hell yeah. But yeah, to anyone that might be joining in from the raid, hello, my name is Valgraven, or Judas, whichever you prefer to call me, and I am a variety streamer, and I stream very fucking rarely because I got a shitty setup, but it is what it is, as they say. But welcome in, and I hope you enjoy. And if there's any music that y'all want to hear, feel free to cue it up. This game is called Meeting in the Flesh. It's from what I remember about the store page where I got it from. It's a horror dating sim. Like, it's got some gnarly elements to it. We're at the bee store right now. We are a salt delivery person. Ooh. Godless, this fucking song slaps. The cages before me buzz in response. The air inside the store is already dizzyingly sweet, but the heady scent intensifies for a moment, and I utterly lose my train of thought. Standing before the entrance, I just focus on taking in 1, 2, 3 deep breaths, each lungful making me feel more languid. Here, huh? But yeah, as you can see, definitely not your run-of-the-mill visual novel. It's a gruff voice sounding from further inside the store that snaps me back to attention. Hey Nyar, I have your salt. It is very pretty, but I have my eyes set on another monster already. But I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's at least 5 mouths, so you know there's always a choice on which to kiss, or you know do more. But that's a story for another time. Nya stands between 2 tall rows of cages, making notes on a scrap of paper, probably taking notes on the condition of his beast. As I make my way down the aisle, the cages around me buzz happily. There's some horror ASMR for anyone. Each cage contains a large, fat bee. Some are shy and turn away as I walk by, but others are more personable and bumble up to the front of the cage to poke their antennae through the bars and wiggle them at me. One cage contains a particularly fluffy bee that waggles its abdomen at me as I approach. I've helped bathe this one before, so it's familiar with me. When I pause to poke my fingers through the bar of the cage, it toddles closer and ducks its head so I can rub the area behind its head, right where the bristly fur starts to sprout. I pet it a few times, rubbing my fingers in short strokes, and it hums happily in response, flicking its wings. Honey dribbles from its mandibles, leaving damp yellow spots in the padding of the cage. Yes, big, fluffy, pet bees. Hey there, you're not supposed to be wasting honey like that. Don't blame my bee for that. You're the one who made her drool. I'm just gonna forget about the voice. That is a gnarly fucking mouth over there. Nyar must have finished taking his notes, because he's made his way down the aisle towards me. The bulk of his body towers over me, leaning over to peer into the cage where the bee is rubbing at its mandibles with its frontmost legs. That tongue though, yeah. And this one too. My girls have had to work hard these days. You shouldn't agitate them. Oh, right. Sorry. You're fine. Just don't excite them too much. Got it. The bee continues to wash its face off, its antennae flicking periodically. That's a typo, hell yeah. Because of the eclipse, huh? Yeah. Not surprising. The bees are highly prized for their honey. Everyone loves honey salt after all. Nya's store sells both bees and honey. Bees are expensive, both to buy and to care for, so not many people can afford to buy one. But saving up to buy some honey for special occasions is much more doable. Maybe I can do that actually, since I don't have any other plans for the eclipse. Hey Nya? Do you have any plans for the eclipse? Why the fuck are we talking about the eclipse now? Wait, there's a fucking mouth there and I didn't see that either. Do you have any plans for the eclipse? No. Also, not surprising. Nyar is the type who largely keeps to himself. But I suppose the eclipse should be nice to watch. Right? I'm thinking the same thing. Maybe just take a relaxing break and watch it happen. Sounds ideal. Think I should buy some honey for the occasion? I do have a few bottles left for today. Maybe a joke would lighten the mood a little. Is there any chance I can help you clean up in the evening in exchange for a discount? Nya grits some of his teeth, seemingly in thought, but before I can tell him not to worry about it, he mutters, "Guess I could figure something out for you. Let's fucking go." I laugh gently. I'm kidding, I wouldn't do that to you. I don't have my wallet with me, I don't usually carry it around on my route, but I might take you up on that offer tomorrow. Nya only grunts in response, but some of his lips quirk a little. I think he's pleased. Fucking hell, I love this already. The bone chime on the door rattles as another customer enters, and I give Nya a quick wave. I better go, actually, but I'll see you tomorrow. Nya grunts again, turning towards his new customers. I give the bees a little wave too, and they buzz back to me, the sweet scent of honey intensifying the air in the moment. Battery. Da-da. I almost stumble as I turn towards the door, inhaling deeply one last time before stepping outside. My head clears immediately. The air outside is still sweet, but it's nothing compared to the intensity inside the store. Outside, a few people peer into the window, looking at the bees on display there.
It smells so good here, doesn't it? Wanna go inside? Nah, I don't wanna run into the owner guy. Why? What's wrong with the owner?
I was about to resume my route, but I paused, pretending to adjust the fabric over my shoulder. Not that that's even necessary. The strangers don't pay any attention. We can rip the toilet away.
I heard he doesn't eat much salt. So what? But he eats something other than salt. What?
I roll my eyes a little. Nobody knows, but... fuck it, stop the voices. Nobody knows, but it's not normal to eat so little salt. You know, and my friend said once he went into the store and they saw him eating one of the bees.
Gross.
I heard all that I cared to hear, so I finished adjusting my pack and set off at a steady gallop. There are a few weird rumors about Nya floating around, and though I once interrupted some gossipy customers, Nya told me not to bother in the future, that he doesn't care what other people say. Still, it irks me that people bother making up these silly rumors about people just because they're different. And Nya is a good guy. Fucking hell. When I get home, I'll look through my settings to make sure I have enough to buy a little bottle of honey. You seem pleased by my promise to buy a bottle, after all. Aw, they look cute.
Thanks, Will. I was worried you might be late, since things seem so hectic today.
I'm glad I didn't keep you waiting.
You always work so hard, so I know I can count on you. But don't work yourself too hard, you hear? Make sure you give yourself some time off for the eclipse.
I'll do that, don't you worry. I wave to the last of my customers for the day, sighing quietly as I turn the corner back onto the main street. The empty pack over my shoulders gets folded up into a little cloth bundle that I can fit in my pocket. I'll drop this off tomorrow morning while picking up myself, so my work for today is done. It's not too late when I get back home, but I feel tired nonetheless. Maybe it's the atmosphere, though the walk back home had been uneventful. That spark in the air still had been present. It had been like trying to wade through a shallow pool of water, the energy slowing off one's skin in thin sheets, with each little conversation with a passerby. Everyone had seemed genuinely excited, and I was happy for them, truly. But now that I'm in my room alone, I can't help but wonder if it's really fine for me to have no plans at all for the eclipse. I open the window and lean out of it as I chew on a block of salt, feeling each bite sting at my gums. Outside, the two moons glow past a gossamer curtain of clouds. They infuse the night sky with a gentle light, warding off the complete darkness, and I bask in the cold light as I reflect on the day's events. All my customers had such different expectations for the eclipse. It sounded like you still had something. Yeah. Bex, I don't know if you're still here, but this is the fucker that I plan to date if possible because I love him. Same for Bratan. And I guess Nia doesn't have any plans, but he has to work hard leading up to the eclipse. I finish my salt, dusting my hands off outside and close the window as I retreat back into my room. Well, I guess it is kind of late to be making any big decisions anyway. And the belief that the eclipse will herald anything good is just a superstition. It's a little too early to be sleeping, but the day's been weirdly exhausting and I can feel sleep rolling in like a blanket of fog. Steady clouding through my head. As I sink back into my bed and stare up at the ceiling, I idly consider tomorrow's route. I guess I'm gonna be pretty busy tomorrow too. Though I start going over tomorrow's route in my head, I can feel thoughts rapidly clouding over. I'll just deal with things as they happen, I guess. Now I'm gonna have a tiny break here to go to the bathroom, so I'll leave you with the wonderful background music for just a bit. And we are back once more. Huzzah! My eyes snap open automatically in the morning. I slept well. God damn that beetle. Shut the fuck up. I usually sleep well. Running all day tends to do that to you. I resist the urge to roll over and bury my face back in my pillow, settling for closing my eyes until the alarm beetle starts chirping. The moment that familiar noise starts buzzing from the bedside table, I'm up on my feet, stroking its wings to quiet it. As I walk around my room, munching on my salt, I glance outside where the skies are warm with sunlight. It's still early, but I can already hear the sounds of faint chatter floating through the window. People aren't as usually up. People aren't usually up and about at this time of day. I peek out of the curtains as I lick the last crumbs of salt off my lips. I can spot a few people standing around, sweeping the streets, or talking amongst themselves. Probably discussing the eclipse. I hurry a little as I wash my hands off and prepare to leave the house. I didn't set my alarm for today, any earlier than usual, but maybe I should have. I get the feeling that today's going to be a busy day.
Good morning.
No, that's not the voice.
Good morning, dear.
Good morning, Agari.
In a hurry, aren't we?
Aren't we? Are we? Just a little. Seems like today's gonna be hectic, so I probably should get to the plan fast.
Alright, I won't keep you then. Have a safe day.
Thanks, you too. I feel a little bad about rushing past her like this, but I can already tell that today is going to be different. There's a strange electricity in the air, the feeling that something's going to happen soon. A few blocks down the street, I can see a group of people huddled together, heads gathered. They look like they're discussing something very important, their hands and claws quivering with excitement. I take a right turn into the alleyway before I reach them, so I won't disrupt them by running through the group. No doubt this is an important moment for them, but I do pick up the pace into a light trot. My boss might be mad if I'm late today, of all days. Yeah, here. Sorry if I'm late, boss. You're not. Lucky for you. He sounds tense, perhaps understandably. The plant feels busier than usual, with more people bustling about. He hasn't even told me to wear my mask yet, so I do it on my own. I don't want him to stress out for any reason. So how's today's route looking? Better go quick today. It's looking complicated. I follow him over to the tables where today's delivery bundles are being assembled. They don't look as put together as they usually are by this time. We're a bit behind on schedule. We got far more specialty salt requests than we planned, so we had to throw together a batch at the last moment. Didn't expect people to splurge this much for the eclipse. He grumbles, but his hands don't stop moving around. I stand alongside him, peeking over his shoulder at the delivery list so I can help assemble salt packets and divide them into bundles accordingly. It's true that the list looks far more complicated than it usually does. Longer too. Usually, the daily deliveries are almost all plain salt with just a handful of specialty requests. Today, the list is peppered with requests for honey, mercury, and punishment salt. So much for my plans for requesting some punishment salt for my own. I better focus on getting the job done today first. Wrapping the salt isn't my specialty, so my movements are a little slow. But even that's better than nothing, judging by the way my boss gives me an approving nod. His hands dart around the table, rubbing up salt blocks from their crates and wrapping them tight in pre-cut fabric in one smooth movement, then sliding them across the table. I know he's been the head of this salt plant for 50 years now, so this must be second nature to him. You're a good kid. No, fuck. I keep trying to do accents in different voices, but I'm not built for that. You're a good kid, you know that? You're a good kid. No, I'm not a kid. He just grunts at that. I must look like a kid to him with his age and experience. But thanks, I just want to help with what I can. He grunts again. It's not like him to say something so mushy. He must really be stressed. You're a hard worker and you care about other people. It's important. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. You're a good kid. I can't fight back a grin at that. Thanks, boss. My boss wraps salt at a ferocious rate, swiftly adding to the pile, but regardless of our addition to the worker line, we're a bit behind schedule. By the time my boss hands over my bundle and the route notes for the day, it's peppered with ticks and check marks to which houses need specialty salt. Today's route's gonna be tricky. Don't give anyone the wrong order now, you hear? I'll be careful, boss. I tie the bundle over my shoulder and turn towards the door. I'll get going. Good luck here. Be careful. I give him a little wave as I turn towards the door. It's necessary to start my route at a brisk walk to keep my legs from cramping up a little later on, but I ramp up pretty quickly into a trot. Then I gallop. I do need to pace myself to avoid tiring myself out early on though. Today's going to be a bit exhausting for sure, but the thought of getting everyone their special salt to celebrate the upcoming eclipse keeps me going. I hope a lot of people are going to be happy. Here you go. Thanks, man. I think most of the people can immediately tell that I'm in a bit of a rush. I feel bad not stopping to chat with them, but it can be helped today. Even with the fast clip I'm moving at, I'm already a little behind schedule. My feet slip a little as I round the corner too quickly, and I have to dig my claws into the ground to keep me from falling over. At least I'll be able to unload a good deal of my cargo at Gistel's office. The office is a bit busier than usual, and when I open the door to step in, the workers murmur quietly to themselves. Heads together, hands shuffling about papers. It's usually almost silent in here to help Gistel concentrate, so any noise feels out of the norm. I didn't notice the eyeballs on the spire outside swiveling about frantically as I walked up. There must be a lot going on. Sure enough, when Gistel disengages from the pod and strides over to me, he looks tired. Despite the slick of fluids, his exoskeleton is slightly lacking in its usual luster, and he blinks more often, running his fingers through his hair.
Good morning, Bill.
Morning, Gistel. Are you holding up alright? Gistel smiles.
I'll be fine, thanks. It's just been a bit busy. There were a few incidents last night, so I had to stay up to take care of them.
He talks as he leads the way towards the side table where I can set out today's salt delivery.
I have to admit, even if I knew the eclipse would be hectic, I didn't expect things to ramp up so quickly.
His narrow chest rises then slowly sinks back in as he looks towards his open pod. Without a controller, the pod lies dormant, its eyes closed, folds of flesh quivering to a stop.
It seems everyone's excited to make big life-changing decisions during the eclipse, but with that, the excitement comes a lack of judgment in some people, so there's been more trouble in general.
He still sighs again, and I can see a sliver of sharp teeth past the thin gap between his lips.
The previous overlook did warn me that the eclipses would be hard, but I might have underestimated it a little.
I give a sympathetic nod as I quickly undo the fabric of my delivery pack so I can line up the salt packets. Today's delivery notes is longer than usual and the paper unfolding into a long sheet when I pull it out of the pocket. And I look it over carefully as I begin counting out the salt packets. This is your first eclipse, right?
That's right. At least I had plenty of time to get used to the job before it came around. I heard my predecessor was barely a decade into the job before his first eclipse.
He still laughs. It's a soft, chittering noise like a cluster of birds, and I can't help but smile in reflex. I can only imagine how hard that must have been.
Oh yes, he never stopped telling me about how difficult that was.
Gistel's fingers are long and delicate as he double checks my counting, making sure there are the right number of each type of salt. Tan for normal, white for mercury, yellow for honey, and red for punishment. The office doesn't usually get such a wide variety of salts, but the eclipse merits some splurging, I guess.
I thought everyone deserves a little something nice for the eclipse.
Huh? It's like he can read my mind. He runs his fingers over the stacks of salt packets.
It's an awfully special time, so I put in a little effort and I found the funds for some specialty salt. They'll go to people who've been having hard times as sort of a good luck charm.
I'm sure it will be really appreciated. I look up from my notes to give him a smile, and he blinks before smiling back. His teeth are very white. Look at the man.
I'm glad you think so. I'd like to help as many people as possible to make this eclipse safe and enjoyable for as many people as possible, even if I have to spend every waking moment in the Overlook pod.
You already do so much for the community, though. Hey, Aussie punk, fuck yeah. Left, right. Yistel looks at me when I speak up, and I smile at him. I'm not very good at being reassuring, but I do my best. Left, right. I've heard people talk about how things have become really peaceful since you became Overlook. So don't worry too much. As long as you do your best, I'm sure that's plenty. I don't wanna do your Nazi much tonight. Nazi much tonight. Such a good song. I really should get the fucking like thing that shows like what song is playing, like, because that would be good for people. Yeah. Yistel's hair rustles as he cants his head. He seems to be considering what I said. I'm rooting for you, alright? So let me know if there's anything I can do for you. Though, he remains silent. Yistel blinks like he's just realizing something. I should head off then. Wouldn't want to eat up too much of your time either. I've double checked to make sure I've set out all the salt Yistel requested, so I pick up my pack, tied back over my shoulder, but as I'm tying the knot, Yistel suddenly draws a little closer, just one pace away from me. He's tall enough that I have to raise my head a little to look into his eyes. He's looking down at me with clear focus. Though? Yes?
Yes! I know you're busy with your route, but if it's possible, can you spare a few more minutes to speak with me?
There's an unusual gravity to his voice. Yistel is usually light and airy, and everything about him feels unobtrusive and soft, but right now there's a clear point to his words. His back's held straighter. Even his gaze is a little gentle and his face is relaxed. I can tell from the tension of his shoulders that he holds himself to be serious. I can't help but cast a brief glance towards the door, though. My schedule's still pretty busy today, and I can't spare that much extra time, especially since I should try to stay a little ahead of schedule in case I hit any roadblocks, or cause for delay later down the line. But still, I get the sense that this might be something very important for Yistel. Even if I stay to speak with him, I should be able to manage all of my deliveries, as long as I move quickly and don't waste any more time. What should I do? We're fucking staying. I think it would be best to listen to what Yistel has to say. My boy! Ultimately, I can't bring myself to just leave, not when Yistel is making such a personal request of me. He's usually so composed and calm that it feels easy to forget that beneath it all, he's just another individual with his own worries and struggles. If he's asking me to stay, there must be a good reason for it. and it would bother me for a long time if I abandoned him like this. And I do have confidence in my running. After all, I should be able to finish my deliveries on time, even if I stay here for a little while. Alright. I give Ystal a smile as I undo the ties to my back, lowering it once more. Oh, stanky. Oh, hell yeah. I think I should be alright to stay for a little bit. Ystal blinks, hesitating for a moment before speaking up again. He sounds slightly guilty.
Are you sure, Vel? I know this must sound ridiculous, but since I'm the one who asked you to stay, but I still wouldn't want to cause you too much trouble if your schedule today is tight.
Witnessing this sort of uncertainty in someone usually so unflappable is an odd feeling. I nod, considering what to say. Don't worry, I'll be alright even if I'm a few minutes late. As long as I can catch up later on in the day, a few minutes here and there won't be a big deal.
I see.
This playlist is both a blessing and a curse to me because it's filled with fucking great songs, and I like them, but it also means I jam out, which is not the best for streams. It's only after he mutters that confirmation that he still gives a small sigh, his shoulders slopping downward as he releases some of that tension in his body. The stiff strands of his hair rustle against each other as he dips his head slightly, seeming to nod to himself before he looks at me once more. There's a gleam of his teeth as he grins at me.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
His voice is warm, warmer than usual. I feel a spot of heat bloom in my chest, spreading to the base of my throat, and I have to swallow it back. God, yes.
I have to admit, the past few days have been incredibly hectic and they've been taking their toll on me. But it's hard to justify taking a break by myself when there's so much to be keeping an eye on.
There's a pause before he seems to realize what he said, laughs, and he laughs, embarrassed. His long, bony fingers draw graceful arcs as he waves a hand.
Not that I'm using you as an excuse to rest, of course. I do have something I want to speak to you about.
Ah, look at him, smiley boy.
Let's change locations, shall we? I wouldn't want to disturb the others while they're still working.
The other workers have been diligently toiling away at their tasks, shuffling papers and jotting down notes. Some speak quietly into communication bladders, the bladder tubes pulsing as they carry important messages off to their recipients. One worker looks up and gives a curt nod upon meeting Ystal's eyes, then promptly returns to rifling through a tall pile of papers.
Let's go to the roof, shall we?
Sure. As we pass by the other workers at their desks, Ystal gently touches one on the shoulder and leads him close, presumably to tell him where he'll be. The worker nods in understanding before promptly returning to their task. Oh, I like this. I like this a lot. This looks cool. Here's the fucking antenna too. Heck yeah. Fuck yeah. Ystal ends up leading us out to the door at the back of the office. It opens up to an external stairway that crawls upwards, tracing along the contours of the building. Even this far down, veins and nerves from the overlooked spire curl around the stairwell's guardrail, gently twitching whenever the wind picks up. The spire itself is calm, however. The myriad eyes half closed, shifting their gaze languidly. The overlook tower seems to be operating automatically for the moment. It's half awake right now. You still must have noticed me looking up curiously. Oh, fuck. Bang! It's not as alert when I'm in the pod, of course. It's not as alert as when I'm in the pod, of course, but even I need to take breaks now and again, and we can't just leave the streets completely unwatched. So the towers evolved to have a half-awake state. Only half of the eyes are active, and it can't differentiate between good and bad activity without me. It just automatically alerts us when it spots an unusual amount of movement anywhere. But still, it's better than nothing, so I'm grateful I can take quick breaks without feeling like I've left my post completely unattended. We've been steadily heading up the stairs. Each time he still takes a step, the pointed tip of his leg hits the stair with a metallic. His movements are graceful and calm. They always are. Everything about Yeastel always seems so graceful and calm. And I really admire him for it. It can't always be easy being so calm, so I really admire him for it. You're such a hard worker. His hand, look at it. It slips out before I can catch myself, and I feel my face grow hot when Yeastel gives me a curious look. I mean, I think you must be really diligent to stay so on top of things all the time, and I think that's really admirable. There's a pause before Yeastel smiles, letting out a low exhale that might have been a laugh. Oh, fuck yeah. I got nothing left to do. Ah. Thanks, Phil, but you're also a hard worker, aren't you? The wind is stronger as soon as we clear the stairwell and step onto the rooftop. The jagged shapes of the city spread out before us. Some buildings loom tall, trailing veins and feathery strands of flesh that sway in the wind, reflecting the green sunlight off damp spots. Others spread wide, covering entire blocks, like flat plains of bone-dry rock. The streets are full of people bustling about, no doubt busy tending to pre-eclipse business. Even from up here, it's obvious that everyone is excited. There's a strange, electric energy in the air. It's an amazing view. It's beautiful, isn't it? Yeastel walks over to the edge of the roof near the spire. He lays a hand on it, and the flesh pulses gently against the touch of his fingers. The tower's eyes languidly scanning the horizon. I come up here whenever I need a break. Looking at the city like this helps me regain my focus. Of course, it makes sense that even someone like Yeastel... Oh fuck, that was the line. Of course, it makes sense that even someone like Yeastel would need a place to rest once in a while. He slowly takes a seat at the edge of the building, then beckons me over, so I oblige, trotting over and taking a seat behind him, dangling legs over the edge. A stiff breeze blows past us, and I'm suddenly much more aware of how high up we are. I don't think I'm particularly afraid of heights, but I still feel a small thrill chase down my spine if I look down. He still doesn't seem afraid at all, though. Partly because he's so used to being up this high, I imagine, but partly because he seems completely immersed in thought. The green of the sun washes over us as he gazes over the cityscape, his exoskeleton beautifully glossy despite his exhaustion. Warm sunlight bouncing off the sharp angles of his cheeks and the wiry strands of his hair. His teeth are very white when he finally opens his mouth to speak. Pausing for a moment, he finally forms words. Oh my fucking god! He's forming words, boys? What the fuck? That's amazing.
Yistel, I wanted to speak to you about a hypothetical situation.
Hypothetical situation?
Yes, hypothetical.
He's curiously specific about that. Hypothetical. But I keep that observation to myself and only nod. Sure, I don't know how helpful I can be, but I'm always happy to try. Yistel nods in response, ruminating over his thoughts for a moment, longer before speaking.
Let's say, let's say you have the chance to help a lot of people. However, it comes at a cost, and you need to give up something very important to yourself in order to help those people. There's nobody forcing you to do it. There's no punishment if you don't help those people, and nobody will chastise you for not wanting to pay that price. It's purely your decision whether to pay the price and help those people. What do you think you would do, Phil?
It's a tough question. He still doesn't look at me, his gaze still directed over out the cityscape. I try to see what he's seeing as I think that question over. How should I answer? Would the help be significant? Even if I think the matter over, it's hard to give a solid answer without the better idea of how significant the help is. Well, it might depend on how helpful I'd be after paying that price. I want to be helpful to people, of course, but even helping people on a regular basis takes some amount of time and energy, I think, so it's a little hard to imagine what kind of help would be worth paying a significant cost for. Yistel nods slowly in response, looking out over the city, his voice a quiet murmur when he responds.
Yes, of course. Then let me try putting it in a slightly different way.
Still hypothetical?
Still hypothetical.
Yistel seems slightly amused by that clarification, eyes narrowed in a thin smile.
You would, hypothetically speaking, like to be a better person, yes?
I nod, of course. I think everyone would probably wants to be a better person if possible.
Then let's say there's a way for you to objectively become a better version of yourself. Not in a nebulous, vague way. It won't be that you'll be wiser or more experienced or more thoughtful. You'll objectively become a better version of what you are now. An upgrade, if you will. Do you think you would want that?
I'm not sure. It sounds like it might be good, but it's also hard to imagine. And I think something like that might have downsides to it, and I'd need to think it over carefully.
A fair point.
Then, building onto that sentiment, it's so fucking obvious that he just wants to ask for our help. He still turns to look at me. The sunlight glimmers off the metallic strands of his hair, highlighting the sharp angle of his eyelids, and I find myself sitting up straighter. All of my focus is on considering his words. This feels like something important to him, so I want to consider it with the gravity it deserves.
Let's say you can make that improvement. You're guaranteed that it will make you better, and you'll be able to do better at your job.
Everyone will admire you for it, and there are practically no downsides to this improvement itself.
But your relationship to someone you value will change drastically, and it can be changed back. Not broken, mind you. You'll still have a close relationship with that person, but it'll be different.
How do you feel about that? It's hard to answer immediately. Mixed emotions trickle through my head, and I need to filter through them. Jesus Christ. A significant part of me wants to better myself, of course, but I also value my relationships with people.
It's a tough question, isn't it?
Yeah, Glitch. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to fucking enjoy this breakdown again. Oh, so good. Yistel's eyes are narrowed, his expression gentle as he studies my face.
Sorry, I know it's a strange hypothetical to spring on anyone, but I value your opinion, and I'd really appreciate it if you tell me your honest thoughts about it.
I can sort of understand what Yistel is getting at if I try hard enough. I repeat his words in my head, ruminating over each one. Well, becoming an unequivocally better person at the cost of a changed relationship. How do I feel about that? It would depend on how much the relationship changes. I wouldn't be able to turn down a situation like that immediately, but I wouldn't immediately say yes either. That is a really hard question. I don't know if I could really answer it. It's definitely something I'd consider, but I'd need a lot more information too. Changing the relationship I have with someone could potentially be pretty big, and I wouldn't do anything like that without knowing more details. Yistel's gaze remains fixed on me. You value your relationships to other people a lot, don't you?
Yes!
Of course, but mostly my relationship with you. Let's fucking go, Phil. Let's fucking go. I joke to try and lighten the mood a touch, though I'm not really sure if it lands. He still does give a low laugh, the sound rasping from the back of his throat.
Are you trying to flirt with me?
I can't say I don't appreciate the sentiment, but perhaps at a different time. Aww. He gives a long sigh as he sits back, propping himself up on his arms as he gazes out over the city. Though he still looks as controlled and calm as ever, his posture seems a little more lax than usual, in conjunction with his pensive expression. It lends him a strange air of vulnerability, like he's struggling with something he's never struggled with before. Yistel? Yes?
Yes?
I know you said that these are all hypothetical questions, but if you wanted to talk about anything non-hypothetical, I'd also be alright with it. Yistel cants his head, a gentle... fucking... Yistel cants his head, a gaze cast aside in thought. A breeze whips past us, sending wiry strands of his hair floating up around him. They practically sparkle in the sunlight. His voice is a little softer, almost blending into the distant buzz of the city as he murmurs.
You're very kind to ask, Phil. Thank you. I suppose I haven't been terribly subtle, but it's true that there are things I've been thinking about very seriously. But alas, we should be getting back to work, shouldn't we?
There's a gentle tap-tap of his feet against the rooftop as he rises. Two clear sounds like the knocking of bone against rock. His body is lithe and serpentine when he stretches his arms, his fingers splaying out wide for a moment as he extends his limbs as far back as they reach. Looking up at him from where I'm sitting on the rooftop, I'm all the more aware of how this person who's so important to the city's well-being is also just a single individual facing tremendous pressure. Yistel exhales slowly, the noise whistling past, the sharp points of his teeth before he lowers his arm. His body language is graceful and casual once more as he reaches down to pat my shoulder. His fingers squeeze briefly before releasing.
Let's head back in, shall we?
Of course, I climb to my feet and follow after him as he starts heading back down the stairwell and into the office. Yistel doesn't say anything more as he leans back down the stairwell. The breeze carries the sounds of the city, filtering them past our ears.
thoughtful murmurs, someone's excited shout, the thump of running feet. Pausing in my steps, I close my eyes and turn towards the endless expanse of buildings. It's hard to make out any individual sounds, even if I focus. I know that the city is abuzz with energy and excited for the eclipse. Things seem to be progressing smoothly. Even with my drier attitude towards the eclipse, I find myself growing a little excited for the potential that day holds. When I snap out of my reverie and hurry to catch up to Yeastel, he holds the office door open for me, smiling kindly as he ushers me inside first. Thank you so much for keeping me company, Vel. I truly appreciate it. The subtle signs of worry and vulnerability he'd shown while discussing these hypotheticals with me are gone just like that. There are only the calm, collected, gentle Yeastel that I've always known standing before me, holding out my pack. Just getting a few moments to relax and speak with you was incredibly refreshing. I'm grateful for your time, but I do hope it didn't cause you too much trouble on your route. Not at all. I give the most reassuring nod I can. It's a white lie in the sense that it did tighten my schedule, but I'm fairly confident it won't cause me any issues. I can work this out. I swiftly tie my pack over my shoulders once more, jostling it to make sure it's secure before turning towards the door. I'll be going then. I hope the rest of your day goes smoothly. Don't push yourself too hard, alright? Of course. Take care, Vel. Even a few of the other workers glance over, giving me a brief wave. I return the gesture as I pull the door open. I do one last check of my pack as I step outside, and as the door closes behind me, I catch one last glimpse of Yeastel through that narrow sliver of an opening. He meets my gaze and flashes me a smile in the corner of his eyes, squinting, a look that feels like a genuine connection. Out of my fucking... That scared me, Jesus Christ. I'm not usually jump scared, but fucking hell, these goddamn thuds are killing me. Ugh. Jesus. And then the door shuts. A sizable part of me wants to linger. After all, I'm sure he still had more to say. The topics he brought up felt far too specific and heavy to be more than mere hypotheticals. It doesn't sit well with me to leave the subject hanging in the air. But still, both he and I have work to do. Too many people will be left troubled if we don't tend to our tasks, and so I turn away towards the street, taking a deep breath. The claws of my feet dig in as I take two steps. My next steps come faster, my gait lightening as my pace picks up. Then I ramp up to a gallop, the scenery smearing as I gather speed. My own worries can come later. For now, I need to focus. It wouldn't do to leave people without salt on such an important day is coming up. Alright. I'm gonna save here. There we go. And I think I'm gonna call it quits for today. Because we've been going on for 2 hours minus that little fuck up. And it's been nice, but I think it's time to go and see if there are any friends online that I can direct y'all to. Well, Luna's online. Let's go say hi to Luna for a little bit. Because it's been a while since I've actually been to their streams in any official capacity. So yes, thank you everyone for the great stream, and I shall see you next time. Ciao, Kra.